All right, today we're going to jump into Psalm 36. But we're not just going to read it. We're going to treat it like a powerful psychological journey. It's this incredible text that starts in the darkest corners of the human mind, and believe it or not, ends up staring right into the heart of the cosmos. And this one line, this kind of cryptic phrase, is going to be our guidepost for the whole thing. In your light we see light. What does that even mean? How can you see light inside of light? That's the central mystery we're really going to try and unpack here. You see, the entire poem is built around this incredibly dramatic pivot. It's this sudden, jarring turn from the claustrophobic darkness of self-deception to this massive, wide-open, expansive light of a whole different reality. Now, you might expect a psalm to start with praise or something, right? Well, this one doesn't. It starts with what is basically a razor-sharp psychological profile. The first 4 verses are a deep dive into the mind of someone who's completely lost their way, someone who has become their own biggest fan, and, because of that, their own worst enemy. So, right off the bat, the poem hits us with this huge disconnect. On one hand, you've got a person who just flatters themselves so much they literally cannot see their own faults anymore. But from the psalmist's point of view, this isn't confidence. Nope, it's the direct result of having no fear of God. Basically, no respect or reverence for anything bigger than themselves.
And, a mindset like that doesn't just stay locked up inside. Verse 3 shows us the inevitable result. It spills out. That internal self-deception leads directly to deceitful words and just a total failure to act wisely or do anything good. The inner world always shapes the outer one.
And then, verse 4, wow, it breaks it down into this deliberate, 3-step process. First, the evil is planned out in private. Then, they actively commit to that path. And finally, and this part is pretty chilling, they consciously choose not to reject what they know is wrong. It's a portrait of willful wrongdoing. And just when you think the darkness can't get any deeper,
the poem just slams on the brakes. It makes one of the most abrupt, whiplash-inducing turns you'll find in all of ancient literature.
And just like that, everything changes. The perspective. It's like a camera panning from a tight, suffocating close-up on one person's mind and then zooming way out to the scale of the entire universe. The whole energy shifts from suffocating to absolutely breathtaking. So, in this second half, the psalm describes a totally different reality. It's a reality defined by 4 immense, powerful qualities. A reality that's the complete opposite of that small, selfish world we just left behind. I mean, how do you even describe something that big? The author reaches for the grandest metaphors they can think of. The heavens, the skies, the tallest mountains, the deepest oceans. And these aren't just pretty words, They're a genuine attempt to show us a scale of goodness that makes human arrogance look, well, tiny and insignificant.
And then, tucked away in verse 6, is this really incredible line. After talking about justice as deep as the ocean, the focus suddenly narrows to this simple statement of universal care. It's not just for certain people or the good people. No, this divine preservation extends to all of humanity and even to the animal kingdom. It's for everyone. Then the scale becomes personal again, but in a totally different way. Verse 7 gives us this powerful image of taking refuge. Now, this isn't just about hiding from danger. It's about finding a place of deep, intimate safety and belonging. For the original audience, picturing a mother bird protecting her chicks under her wings, that would have been a profoundly powerful symbol of security. And it doesn't stop at protection. In verse 8, the metaphor shifts again, this time to overwhelming abundance and joy. It's not just about getting by or surviving, it's about thriving, feasting, drinking from a river of delights. Come on, this is a picture of a life that isn't just safe, it's overflowing with goodness. But where's all this coming from? Okay, so this brings us right to the thematic heart of the entire poem. Verse 9 is about to reveal the ultimate source of all this protection, all this joy, and, well, all of life itself. And there it is, our opening line, but now it's in its full context. The claim here is absolute. Divinity is the fountain of life, the actual origin point of everything that exists. And only within that divine light, that ultimate reality and truth, can we finally see everything else with clarity. True perception, the psalmist arguing, is basically impossible outside of this source. So, after this incredible journey from the darkness of one person's mind to the light of the entire cosmos, how does it all wrap up? Well, the poem ends with a very personal plea, and then a confident final verdict. So in verses 10 and 11, the speaker takes all these huge cosmic ideas and brings them right down to earth. It's a prayer, really, a prayer that this great love and righteousness will act as a real, tangible shield against those same arrogant and wicked people from the beginning of the poem.
And this sets up the final burning question, doesn't it? We've seen two completely different ways of being in the world laid out. So what happens to the folks who stay on that first path, the one of self-flattery and deceit?
The final verse isn't a question or a hope, it's a declaration. It's a vision of what the author sees as the inevitable outcome. That path that started with plotting evil on a bed, it ends here, with the evildoers thrown down, completely unable to get back up. And so the journey of the poem is complete. It took us from a clinical, almost forensic analysis of a closed-off mind through that massive pivot to a vision of cosmic goodness and landed on this final, stark declaration of justice.
And that leaves us with a pretty powerful question, one that hits just as hard today as it did thousands of years ago. This psalm draws a very sharp line between the light of a bigger reality and the shadow of our own self-deception. So the question for us is, in our own lives, where is that line? How do we know when our healthy self-assurance crosses over and starts to curdle into that dangerous kind of self-flattery that blinds us to our own faults?